Without further ado, please help me welcome Rick Pastor from Jet.com.
Good evening, everybody. So thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate everyone coming out. It's a really, really good turnout. So I guess what I would start by asking is, how many people have heard of Jet.com? Wow, that's fantastic. And how many people have ordered from Jet.com? All right, so the good news is this is also a sales opportunity. So here's your second pitch for the night, is how we can call it. So I'm the director of program management at Jet, and that incorporates a lot of some of our larger initiatives that kind of span across teams. One thing that we found when Jet started is that we had a significant amount of these projects that spanned across the entire company, but we didn't have a mechanism to be able to kind of span across. So that was what my team was built to do. And so we've been doing that for about 6 months, and recently just launched like a fresh grocery. That was one of our guinea pig projects. And I say guinea pig, but it really was our sort of foray into program management. So what I'm just going to talk a little bit about me. It's going to be quick, I promise, because no one actually wants to hear about me, I'm sure. And then give you an introduction to Jet so you know what Jet is all about, including our pricing algorithm. And then also one of the interesting questions that I've gotten from a lot of people is, with such a rapidly growing company, how do you maintain the culture of entrepreneurship and a startup with having so many employees come in week after week? So how do you maintain that? And then, of course, if you have any questions, and if you have questions throughout, you can feel free to chime in. I'm happy to answer as we go as well. So just a little bit about myself. It started, and I have to give a shout out to my alma mater, Syracuse. I don't know if there's any other Syracuse grads anywhere. I know I'm in the wrong part of the country for Syracuse grads, but we always like to represent everywhere we go. My career started back in 1999. I worked for 2 public relations agencies supporting IBM software. I thought I wanted to get into public relations, and then as communications is a fantastic industry, and I learned just a ton, especially about technology, and that's where I sort of developed my love for technology, but I knew that I wanted to get closer to the customer. So I moved to New York in 2001. I will admit, it was actually moving for a girl from Boston, it was where I'm originally from. And then here I am 15 years later, and I live in New Jersey and never ever thought I would. No offense to anyone who's from New Jersey, of course. So. In 2001, I went to American Express, where I really kind of jumped into marketing. And that's where I began my career in the digital space and instantly fell in love. It was what I wanted to do. It gave me the ability to be close to customers, and it gave me the ability to really sell more than just a product, but the idea and the company that you're representing. And I also really grew to love financial services. And it was a great time from 2001 to 2005, when I went to Citibank, and I was at Citibank for 10 years, working on the digital space, some of the projects, and that's really where I also grew into a program management role, where I started working on how do we consolidate the different consumer platforms. We had several disparate platforms within the consumer business at Citi, including banking, mortgage, credit cards. And as a customer, you'd have to have 3 different logins to be able to access your accounts, even if they were the same. So my task and my team's task was to bring agile technology to Citi, which had never been done, and which was interesting. Everyone in this room, I'm guessing, knows a little bit about agile, has heard about agile? Okay. So it's moving from a very, very, what you can now call an antiquated process in waterfall, and moving over to agile. This was the first project that we did it on, and so we had about 83 people in our first sprint, which, as everyone who's done Agile knows, that's probably about 78 too many. So very interesting time. And from there, I also helped work on the global business. So I've been to Miami a lot to work on our Latin America business from Citi. And so when I got the invitation from Maria, I was very excited to come back, because it's been a little bit since I've been here. One thing I always like to say, and this is a very shameless plug, in terms of personal goals, I had my two beautiful girls, in one 5.5 and 2.5. And then I started at Jet back in August of 2015, so I'm coming up on my year anniversary. And just a little bit about Jet. So who is Jet.com? I think it came with a lot of publicity, a lot of news, a lot of marketing right off the bat, as we are the Amazon killers. And that's what everyone kept on saying, is this is the company that's going to challenge Amazon in the online space. And one of our leader and CEO, has anyone heard of Quidsy or Diapers.com, Soap.com before? So Mark was the CEO and founder of Diapers and sold it to Amazon, worked at Amazon for a couple of years after, and then came to develop Jet.com. And as you can see, one of the main differences, something that we're really trying to accomplish at Jet, is really building a loyal customer base. We know that there's a lot of options out there. We know that customers are going to go in a lot of different directions. What we want is we always want for Jet to be the first place you come to check us out, because we really hope that you're going to see the value in what we're bringing. One of the things we love to try to tout is the money you're saving, and that's really what we are. It's a money-saving opportunity for our customers. So you have convenience, and you have price, and you have everything that you get from an online marketplace with a large breadth of product, but you also are saving money as you go along. So what I wanted to do is just show a quick video. It's about 5 minutes. This one, I promise I knew what I was doing.
The old economics of saving money meant you had to buy items in bulk, and that's weird. Because 5 pounds of mayonnaise is actually a fundamentally ridiculous thing to buy. When you're done with it, you can live inside the jar. 7 years from now. That's how long it's going to take. Jet.com is transformationalizing the shopping club. So now you can buy human-sized mayonnaise and millions of other human-sized things at teeny tiny prices. Look at the stuff we have. Electronics, throw pillows, Tang, that thing, this, think of a thing. There it is. Remember, prices start low on Jet, and then things get technological. When you add items, it actually unlocks bonus savings on other items. What? That's so crazy. How do you do it? Hold on. It just started. Give me a second. I'll explain it. In real life, it might go something like this. Hey, welcome to Jet. Can I help you find something today? Yes. I'm in the market for a mixer. I'm what you would call a foodie. That's French for foodie. A fellow gourmand. Check this out. Ta-da! Whoa, so much cheaper than other prices I've seen online. I accept. Oh, ding, 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 ding. You just unlocked the Smart Cart bonus. Because you added that mixer to your cart, you can now save an extra $3 on this already low-priced stoneware tureen. That's the Ferrari of tureens right there. I got one just like it. Are you kidding me? I needed one of these. I needed a tureen. With the Smart Cart bonus, you save $2 when you add this avocado slicer too. Slices, course, peels. That's my spiel. I used to have to cut avocados with a knife, like some sort of beast. This is great. You can save even more with the option to waive returns. Okay, what about buyer's remorse? What about being a grown-up? We're having fun, right? It's like a game. You add peanut butter, it lowers the price of jelly. You add loofahs, it lowers the price of body milk. What? Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, I felt that.
So Jet is 11 months old. We started on July 21st of 2015. And I think everyone has seen that there was an awful lot of funding that did come to us, about $800 million in funding over the last year. When everyone says that we are the Amazon killers, I think what's very important to know is that we don't consider ourselves a competitor to Amazon. What we consider is the fact that the e-commerce market is right now a $300 billion industry. And in the next 10 years, what we're expecting is that it's going to grow to about $1 trillion. So there's room for many players in the industry. And so even if we were a number two, a strong number two, I think we'd be pretty happy with that. So who is Jet? We launched, as I said, 11 months ago. It kind of feels sometimes like it was about 11 years ago. I used to be 6'2", I think, when I started. So we've raised an awful lot of money, which has certainly helped really grow a lot faster. And we sell over 11 million products at this point. That includes our 3 warehouses that we have strategically placed across the US so that we can get to all 48 states. I'm sorry, Hawaii and Alaska, we're coming, I promise. But that we can get there in about 1 to 2 days. And we also have about 1,800 merchants that we have on the site. We're adding about 400,000 customers a month, and about a third of those are repeat customers. And truly the most important thing that we can do is acquiring customers is fantastic. What we need is the sustainability of customers to come back over and over and over again. So it's ensuring that your first experience and your second experience is as good as your 50th experience or your 100th. And people ask us all the time, they're like, well, aren't you just a run-of-the-mill e-commerce marketplace? There's a lot of them out there. It's, the space is really growing. It's becoming a little bit crowded. We really think it's very different. And it's different because the price that you see when you come on the site is not actually the final price. Prices drop as you shop. And that's really the mantra that we're trying to appeal to customers with. And it's built on a real-time pricing algorithm. And sellers are finding the most efficient ways in the value of shopping as they go. And the prices adjust as you shop. And I'll show you some of the examples on that. And so as shoppers throw items in their cart, they're encouraged to help build those bigger carts because they're only going to see the savings pile up. So here's a couple of examples. Please don't look at my examples. I'm not actually buying this Go Fresh antiperspirant, I promise. Although it's a good product, I can vouch for it. You get 38 cents extra off, and that's just saying because of where items are being shipped from, this is coming from one of our warehouses. The more that we actually put in the box from our warehouse, we're going to pass that savings along to you. We're not going to charge you a premium on every product just because you're buying them separately. As we look at it, you're really bundling that together, and we're going to pass the savings along. Also something called multiple quantities. So if you see right here on this product detail page, the more that you buy, the more that you save. So if you know that you're going to buy a couple of them or 3 or 4, the savings just continue to add up. And another question, you heard about waive returns, which is a little bit of a weird thing to say because you always want the ability to return. But do you really need to return your laundry detergent or your toilet paper? I'm hoping not. So we give you the ability to then waive or decline returns. Now, the question always comes up, well, what happens if it's damaged? Or what happens if it leaks on my box? Or what happens with that? We absolutely honor damages. We'll refund. That's not a problem. What this is saying is if you get the product and you say, yeah, I don't really like it. That's where you're sort of waiving the right to be able to do that and have the buyer's remorse. But that's why it's so critical, because on a lot of the products that you buy every day, you already know what your preferences are. You already know how you shop. So then payment methods. Traditionally, credit card companies and banks and other companies take something called an interchange fee for every purchase that you make. And even if you do a debit card transaction, typically you've been charged the same amount as you would a credit card, which the rates are a little bit lower. So again, if you use a debit card, we're going to pass along the savings to you. So I know that these look very small. You think 1.5% off. You think 44 cents for waiving the returns. You save a couple of dollars for the quantity savings, and then the extra savings where you combine all the products. What you're really seeing is that a little adds up to a lot with every single time. And it adds up, you're talking about sometimes between 15, 20% off of our competitors' prices when you've built a smarter cart. So I'm just going to stop for 1 second. Any questions or? Eventually, that's in the, I'm going to repeat the question, sorry. The question is, are we planning to go international? And the answer is that's absolutely part of a long-term strategy. But for now, we're focused on the 48 contiguous states in the US and trying to nail that customer experience, trying to grow our base. I mean, right now, I think we have about 50 to 60% of people in the US who recognize Jet as a brand. We need to get better at that. Yep, and I'm actually gonna, yeah, that's a really good question. The question was, how many employees do we have and how many, what's the growth plan? And I can tell you, I can sort of give you the final number right now is about 1,800 when we made the acquisition of a company called Hay Needle a few months ago, who's an online furniture retailer. I will tell you that when I started August 10th of last year, I was employee 331. So it's pretty rapid growth. And just to show you just a little bit about our office, a lot of people come and they actually want tours of the office because it's a really neat location. It's in Hoboken, New Jersey, so on the outskirts of the city. And you can see one of the things that people have talked about in all of the news articles is that we actually have a streaming view of the sales. So our merchandise value, how much we're selling, how many customers we have, that is all across a ticker in the main lobby in the office. So you'll see a lot about when I talk about culture, that lends itself to a lot of the transparency of our company, which makes it very different. You can see an open floor plan, and it's truly a collaborative space. And just a fun take on the Jet logo. So this is one of the front spaces of the company. And I'll just be honest, the view does not stink. So. And just a couple more of the view, and that's something that I actually took yesterday. So just a question about what are customers saying? How are they reacting? And one of our key measures and key metrics is Net Promoter Score. Has anyone heard of Net Promoter Score or used Net Promoter Score as you move? So it's a way to really measure customer satisfaction, and you usually will get a one-question survey that says, how likely are you to recommend this company based on this transaction? And some of the feedback that we've gotten and the response rate has been higher than I've ever seen in my experience. Some of just the quotes that I really enjoy seeing: fast, easy to use, great discount, loved using Jet, and I will again. It was a unique experience. That really goes to, and we had to go back in and say unique positive or unique negative. But it really, what they were saying is it's unique because it really accentuates the gamification from a customer perspective. It's fun to add things to your cart and see the overall price go down, and it's really fun to see how it translates into savings as you're moving forward. So one of the best services I ever experienced with e-commerce. I didn't want to change the quote, but we'll forgive the typo. And that's the other part of it. Is one of the things that's critical for Jet and how we're growing is about our customer service. And our customer service representatives who are in Salt Lake City are equity partners in the organization. So they're invested as much as we are at the corporate office, as much as everyone in our fulfillment centers are. So everyone is in it for the same reason.
What have been your most effective channels for acquiring customers?
So the question was, what are our most effective channels for acquiring customers? And we have, as you probably have seen, spent a lot of money on marketing. So it's a lot of traditional channels have certainly been, we've done a lot of television ads. We've done a lot of display ads. So Facebook. I think our most important channel has probably been our Google placement ads. So a partnership with Google spent a lot of time and focused our efforts on how do we bring customers to the site so we have a great starting price, and then how do we articulate the value prop of Jet to have them come in? Yeah, so the question was about it's called CAC, or cost to acquire new customers. And I think the nice part about being a startup is we have extremely robust analytics and data. So we're able to measure. I think at the beginning, when we started marketing, it was a lot higher. Now that we have a lot more word of mouth, we've probably expanded on the traditional channels and starting into more in the referrals and those types of affiliate programs. It's gone way down. I think it's gone down. I don't know exactly what the number is right now, but it started awfully high, and it's probably more than tripled decrease that we've seen. Great question. So the question is about the repeat customers and how do we translate that into returning purchasers. Mm-hmm. The hook is price, but the hook is the holistic experience. And that's why it's so important for us to articulate the overall customer experience, not just the when you just add one or two things to your cart, but the most important thing is how do you build a little bit bigger of a basket, and how do you then see all of the different ways that you can save. So we don't think of ourselves as the place you go to get one thing. We think of ourselves as the repeat customers coming in to do all of your consumable shopping. Consumables are those items that you run out of, and that's the way that you can define that. And every time that you need your toilet paper, toothpaste, deodorant, and everything that you use in your home, that you're going to come to Jet because you're going to know that with this whole experience and with adding all these things to the cart, you're going to continue to save a lot of money. And that's our target customers who are really intent. There's some that love the gamification of it, and we have like the extreme couponers who just enjoy to see that price go down. And we also have the people who they're really looking for price and convenience, the homemakers, the people who are, it's their job to really take care of the house. And that's really what we're appealing to. And those are the customers who have come back over and over again, along with customers and users who really value customer service. I mean, our customer service is just fantastic, and they take it, they're very passionate, and they take everything to heart because they are invested in the company as well. So the question was, at this moment, is there any type of loyalty program? We do have a currency called Jet Cash, which you can get by, we also have a program called Jet Anywhere, where if you go and you shop at other retailers, and this started when we didn't have as much of a breadth of offerings when we started, you can go to one of the retailers. As long as you click through from Jet, we have an affiliate program. You shop on one of those retailers and you buy, you send us an email, and we actually deposit this currency called Jet Cash into your account that you can then use on your next purchase. So we do have that. We are defining a broader strategy about loyal as we move forward. But right now it's not as much of a defined loyalty program, but it's something that we're going. Right now it's all about how do we acquire and retain and grow our base as we move along. And hopefully the prices are a little bit of our loyalty platform. And showing you how you actually save and how and having a wonderful experience and an easy experience is really about the loyalty right now.
For the seller.
Absolutely. So the question was, what are the benefits for the seller? And one of the biggest benefits is we're extremely transparent. So what makes us a little bit different is no matter what the trick is the best price for the customer. If we are going up against a retailer in the marketplace, and you have the best price based on the cart and based on everything that you have, you're going to win that purchase. And so that's really a great thing from a marketplace and from a retailer perspective, that even if we sell diapers, and you're a retailer and you're coming on and you've established and you're selling diapers as well, if you're giving the customer the best price and the best opportunity in terms of shipping speed, you're going to win. And we don't care. We don't kind of stack the decks in our favor to be able just to win because it's coming from one of our warehouses. Yeah, so the question was, if somebody goes to a traditional brick and mortar retailer like a Target or a Walmart, what is the typical savings that you see? And the answer is it really depends on how much your basket or your cart or your order is for. Based on, there's a couple of stories that we've seen that I would encourage you to go. I think the average is about 10%. But don't hold me to a number because it's very different based on what you've ordered. So the question was, are we on the same path as an Amazon? And I think in terms of profitability, I'd love to be profitable now. That would be a great thing. I think we're on. In terms of, Amazon has a 20-year, head start in terms of what we're doing. Our goal is to scale, and what we've seen is that we need about 20 million customers, about $15 billion in revenue, I think, to really kind of get over the hump in terms of profitability. Because for us, one difference between us and Amazon is that Amazon charges you per product. Our goal is that since we pass along savings to you, we have a much thinner margin, but we're hopefully going to attract a more loyal following. So that's the goal. So in terms of profitability, our goal is to scale to get up to profitability, and we're hoping that's in the next few years. This is great with all the questions. I love it. So the question was, are we charging a state sales tax? And I think it depends on the state. There's some that we have what's called nexus in, and there's others that we don't. Like New York and New Jersey, we have sales tax. I honestly don't know about Florida. I apologize. I don't think we do in Florida, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I saw one back there first. So the question is, do we open our doors in our warehouses to third-party retailers? I think, does Vincent have a question? So I could ask for a softball if that would be great. But no, the answer is right now, no. It's more of a closed network because we have such a strong and a tight integration with our retail partners. There's really no need at this point to have to bring them into the warehouses. And again, they also like a little bit more of the ability to make sure that they're working with other e-com marketplaces. So the question is, what's stopping Amazon from doing what we're doing? And the answer is, I think we have. It's a really good question. Especially when they bought the Quidsy before. And I think the answer is that it's a very different marketplace. I think they're very content dealing with the customer base, with all of the different businesses that they have, and it's also a challenging algorithm to just replicate. It's something that we've built, and for them to unwind everything that they're doing, because you'd really have to re-architect your whole platform to be able to do this type of algorithm. So it's not as easy as just saying, okay, just go do that, just change our whole pricing strategy. It's a big change that you'd have to make, and I think that's where we have a little bit of an advantage. We're starting from scratch with that. Yep, absolutely. So the question is, as we've scaled so quickly, what have we had to do to be able to optimize and sort of continue with the rising tide? And I think part of it has been growing pains. I mean, I'm going to be very, very honest. Sometimes there are growing pains when you're growing as fast, but it's having a very cohesive and consistent management company and having everything trickle down to all of the people that work there. And I also think it's a platform that was built for scalability. It was never a platform that was built for 100,000 customers. It was always built to be scaled to that 20 million number, or the 20 million number. So that's how it was always built. So the fact that we're growing as fast as we are, all it's doing is it's shortening the timeline. But it was always created to be able to do that. So your question was on the checkout page. We had a small amount of payments, and I guess what you're saying is that there's credit card and there's debit card. Are we going to infuse like the PayPal checkout and Amex Express checkout and all those? Absolutely. The answer is we're always looking at opportunities. As you can imagine, with a startup, there's a roadmap of about 1 million things long, and so what we're trying to do is prioritize how do we get to all of these wonderful things, like reviews and recommendations and everything that's going to put us right on top of the map. It's trying to figure out what's the best way to prioritize. Yep. So the question is, when Mark kind of founded the company, what was his thought in terms of the actual customer number? And I think it's transformed a little bit, because we started with a membership model, and part of the thought process was our membership model was going to be really how we were going to gain revenue. What we saw very quickly in the first couple of months is we don't need that type of a revenue number, because the savings that customers are going to get just by doing their typical order and the basket sizes that they were doing is enough of a margin. So we don't want to create a roadblock from customers from having that membership fee. And so that changed the game a little bit. So that has changed a little bit of the number of customers and the scalability that we have. So after that changed, that's when a lot of the numbers and the forecasts and projections came out. Yeah, so the question is, are all the products the same in each of the warehouses? And right now they are. We have all of the different products are available in each of the locations. And the trick of that, and the reason that's so important, is because then you have the locations covered, so you can get anywhere in those 48 states within 1 to 2 days. And it's a lot less expensive if you're shipping from Reno, Nevada to California than if you had to ship from Kansas City or New Jersey to go to the West Coast. So that cross-shipping is really, really high cost. So how do you maintain an inventory in each of those warehouses is critical to our success. The 3 warehouses in Reno, Nevada, Kansas City, Kansas, and I'll admit something that I didn't realize that there was a Kansas City, Kansas until I started at Jet. I always thought it was all Missouri, but there's apparently a 7-mile stretch of Kansas City, Kansas, and then Swedesboro, New Jersey, which is southern Jersey. And that can get us really to anywhere, especially with our partnership with FedEx. It allows us to get anywhere within 1 to 2 business days. So your question was about third-party sellers, and we absolutely have third-party sellers all over. We have 1,800 of them. What I think the question was is, do we allow third-party retailers to come into our warehouse and sell products out of our warehouse? And we have it be a separate facility, but with an API and with an integration, that's how we get retailers on the site. Our retailers set the prices. So that when the extra savings and all those things you get, typically that's for a lot of the stuff that we sell, and then the ability to waive the returns, the ability to use your debit card. Those are savings that anyone would get no matter where you buy from. But I think what resellers have really liked is that it's very transparent. They know how they're going to win the purchase from the customers. And as in other places, that's not as transparent. Great. Well, any other questions? Let me know. So, but this is great. It means that there's a lot of interest, and so one of the quotes that I really just love is, "You guys literally saved me many hours shopping. Seriously, I haven't had to step foot in, I'll say, store to be named later because I feel badly saying it, in months." So one of the questions, and I just have a few more minutes, and then I'm open to questions, and I also don't want to stop you from pizza and drinks and all the other fun stuff. So one of the questions, and I think this goes right to your question before, was what with the rapid growth that we have, how do we maintain the culture, and how do we continue to be entrepreneurial and as much of a startup, but also gain some of the processes, some of the structure that you need as you become a mid to even like a large size company. So here's the growth that we've had month over month. This just shows you how transparent a company Jet is, because there's not a lot of companies who would open the hood and show you how many employees that we've amassed month over month. So I was, I think, in here, and so now we're at 1481 as of May, and with Hayneedle, I believe we just eclipsed the 1,800 mark. So it's pretty phenomenal growth in just a year. So one of the 3 principles that we have, and this is where I can end it, is really it's about 3 things. And what we didn't want to do is create this whole hierarchy, roles and responsibilities and everything that goes along with it. It was really 3 values that we thought of. The first being trust, second being transparency, third being fairness. So in terms of trust, it's the start at which we're believing that people are good, and really those people bring out the best in other people. And that's something that we've continued to do. Transparency, you've already seen a lot of the transparency. You saw it in some of the articles that have come out. You've seen a lot of it in this presentation here in terms of the employee count. But we want to be very open to sharing, and that's both with our employees and with everyone external to Jet. And then fairness. I think the most important thing is we do play hard. We have a great time. It's a great office. There's a purple pool table, so everything we do is purple. But what we also want to make sure that we're doing is everything is fair. One thing is our compensation tables. Everyone on the same levels, so all directors, all senior managers, all analysts, everyone within that band makes the same salary and has the same equity. So that's something where there's no negotiation. I kind of liken it to the old Saturn, and that's going to date me, because I'm sure a lot of people don't remember what the Saturn car was. Does anybody remember what a Saturn is? So, whew, thank goodness. So when you went to Saturn, the price was the price. You didn't have to negotiate, and that's the type of thing about Jet. When you come to Jet as an employee, you know what you're going to get in terms of compensation. You know what your trajectory is as you move forward, and that's something that's incredibly important. One thing I'm just gonna slip through this because I know I went way over, but some of the perks. This is for all of the different customers. One of the ones that I think is really special is a parental leave. So not just maternity leave, but paternity leave. And fathers can actually go out for 4 months, paid leave, and it's full pay. And those are just some of the perks where, you know, as you're starting as a new company, it's just it's a nice feeling to have, and it's more of an adult type of company in terms of we know you're going to come in, we know that you're going to work hard, but we know that we can trust you enough to have unlimited vacation, to have this parental leave, to have all these fun things and camaraderie that you would get in a startup, especially as we continue to grow, and that's something that has continued even from employee number 10 to employee number 1,500. So with that, I'm going to conclude, but if there's any questions, I'm open to... Yeah, so the question was about ownership. Everyone has a stake in the company, and every full-time employee from who's on the payroll has shares in the company. Obviously, right now, bless you. Right now, the shares are obviously, it's not a publicly traded company, but everyone who comes and work has the amount of equity, and depending on what your band level is, that's the number of shares you have. So hopefully, crossing fingers, it'll be worth something someday. But so that's about the equity, including call center reps and reps at our fulfillment center or warehouses. So so the question is about, have we ever had to lay somebody off? And obviously there's always people who leave the company. We have never had to do any layoffs because of anything business related. So we haven't had to do that. Your shares do vest over a period of time, but we've never had to do anything in terms of layoffs. Yeah, so the question was, am I a spirit crusher, basically? In all seriousness, the question was about a traditional program management or project management organization tends to slow things down. It tends to create a roadblock. How do we make sure that doesn't happen? And one of the interesting things is that's why they resisted having a PMO to start. And what we realized and quickly came to the conclusion of is, if you develop a PMO the right way, it can actually be something that helps get things moving faster, keeps things moving faster, and can really be a sense of coordination and glue across the entire company. I wouldn't say that we have a very traditional PMO. I think what we have is more of a support system that really goes and helps make sure that everyone is aligned and on the same page, because at a startup and at Jet, you're moving 100 miles an hour and 100 miles a minute to be able to keep up. And so it's really important to have a centralized organization that's going to help keep everyone in check. So hopefully not, we won't be spirit crushers for a long time. So the question is, what can a small e-commerce company learn from Jet? And I would say the first thing is develop your culture and stick to that culture. So from day one since I've been there, when again I was employee 331, to now, Mark and the whole management team, they've maintained the same culture. Those 3 things that you saw before, the trust, transparency, and fairness, those have been the values since day one. And I think it's really important to stick with what you believe in. And Mark has always been about, I'm going to treat everyone the same way, whether you're 22 or even 20 and an intern, or whether you're another founder in the company. And I think he's really stuck to that, and he is so incredible. And the other thing I would say is passion. There is nobody who's more passionate than our CEO, and it's infectious. So the question is, what type of growing pains have you experienced while acquiring a company on the trajectory? And honestly, it's been as seamless as I've ever seen a transaction go. They're still a separate entity. What we gained is we have their entire catalog from Hey Needle now comes on Jet, and what they've been able to do is, because they had sort of flatter growth, they've been able to grow and grow really quickly and have a nice backing as well. So it's been completely seamless, and their employee base was just so thrilled to be part of the community and be able to grow, because they saw a little bit of a stagnation and were able to really kind of grow and peak from there. So it was a unique opportunity. It's not an opportunity you see for most startups acquiring other, especially companies who had been around for a while, but it was just one of those very unique opportunities that they were able to take advantage of. So the question is, do we provide pay-per-click to advertisers coming from our site to? Gotcha. Yeah, right. The team is looking into that. They're looking at all types of revenue streams, like sponsorships and everything that we have. But for right now, we don't offer that. So the question is, how much is our cost per client acquisition? And that's the one number that's a little confidential, because it's a continual moving target. But I can tell you that the important number is that it's decreased. It's gone probably triple in terms of the decrease that we've seen from when we started. So I'm sorry that I can't give you like the actual number. So the question was, we have household products and other types of products. What else do we have? We have everything from your traditional consumable types of things, like the household items. We have electronics. We have home. We have a large pet assortment now, and growing by the day, because the pet industry is just booming. Especially with, I can tell you my sister's dog is gluten-free. So it's a booming industry in terms of pets. So it's really it's burgeoning into that as well. But there's pretty much everything across the board in terms of all your household items. So we really look at it as your consumables, and then your durables, like those things that you would buy once off, like even everything from like a TV to everything in between. Books, a lot of books, so we're already gearing up for holiday, if you can believe it. So. Yep, so the two-part question, the first was, or let me take the second one first, which is, do we have a reorder or a save for later? And we do have the ability to reorder. It's not as seamless as it should be, but that's coming very, very, very soon. So you're going to have to go and check on it, because I promise you in the next month or two, you're going to see it. And I'm sorry, the first part of your question was, how do we attribute the offline? So how do we attribute the offline marketing that we do? And it's the promotional codes. So we're able to really tell how the response has been, because we have different promo codes that are on each piece of a direct mail. Yeah, so the question was, in terms of having the platform that we had, what was the point of delaying the launch until we had 300 plus employees? And the answer is, I think this was something that was started only a few months before that, and the growth, even at the beginning, was so impressive that it was trying to build this whole algorithm and build this platform and having it be stable before it went to customers. There was a beta program before, so there was a number of employees, and they were all working on the beta program to make sure that we were ready for prime time when we went out, because you really, especially in e-commerce, and everyone will probably be shaking their heads, you only get one chance at making a really good first impression. I think that was a commercial. I forget who did that. I think it was Irish Spring or something. But you only get that first chance, and if you blow that customer's not coming back, because there's so many other options out there. So we really had to make sure that we were ready to be able to take on what we expected to be a large customer turnout. So the question is, besides English, is any other language supported in the call center? And we certainly have agents who speak other languages, so we try to support it. There's no official other language that's supported, but that's something that's coming as well. Yeah, so the question was, why did we use Microsoft Azure as a platform? And I think it was the breadth of the offering. One of our founders, Mike Hanrahan, who's our CTO, had a very solid relationship with Microsoft, and I think just valued sort of the breadth of offerings that they bring to the table. I know it's not potentially a startup type of platform, but again, it's more towards like the scalability as well. Absolutely. So the question was about trying to meet the demand and some of the, in terms of the tech stack that we have. And I think the answer, so right now we're using F# as our language, which is kind of impressive for a startup in terms of it's a brand new language, or relatively new as a language. And so it's trying to find developers who are fluent in F#, or at least in something that's comparable. And it's a technology-driven company. So it's obviously customer experience is just probably the most important, but it's also a technology-driven company because we want to be on the cutting edge of everything that we're doing. And so part of the biggest challenge that we have right now is actually finding enough developers to keep up with the demand. And so we're really looking for talented developers who are coming. So if anybody wants to move to New Jersey and want to be a developer, we'd love to have you, because that's one of our growth challenges, is how do we hire enough developers to keep up with that demand and that roadmap that's growing taller than me every day. So any other last questions? I'm also happy to answer questions in person if you have, but really just wanted to thank Maria and the whole Refresh Miami team. It was really fantastic to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Rick, for coming down. And thanks again to AT&T, our sponsor tonight. Please go back to their table and ask them any questions. And thank you all for coming out. If you'd like to mingle a little bit longer, have a great night.